First, how would you contribute to a Clean Air Act in Thailand, concretely? Which kind of measure would you see implemented? And second, how would you specifically work in Chiang Mai, since you are talking about Chiang Mai quite a lot, where you probably know that better than me, but it's a very deep, historically, socially, economically problem, air pollution in Chiang Mai. So what would be the measures you would implement in Chiang Mai specifically, and how those measures would be different from the ones that are currently implemented by the current government? Thank you very much.
Okay. Pollution in Thailand is like a ham in a sandwich. The government has the master plan, but it doesn't have the power, the Clean Air Act that gives the power for 8 different ministries to coordinate together. To them, when I was the chair of the Natural Resources Environment Committee, I asked the person in charge to come in, and I asked him the 5 reasons of air pollution in order, and this is what he told me. He said first is from agriculture, burning of sugarcane, burning of rice fields. Second is manufacturing, which belongs to Ministry of Industry, right? The first one was Ministry of Agriculture. The third one is transportation, which belongs to Ministry of Transportation. The fourth one is about electricity, which is coal. 11% of Thai electricity is done by coal. There's still about 11%. And that's Ministry of Energy. So the poor guy who comes in, he's a director general level, almost retiring. The poor guy cannot answer the question because all the causes of air pollution in Thailand belongs to some other ministers who are higher than him. It's a kind of Clean Air Act in Denmark, in Sweden, Swedish Protection Agency, where I'm looking at Sweden as a model. Singapore, if something like that happens, it's this environmental protection agency that Thailand doesn't have. You have to have the act first. That can segment the problem and say, okay, no more agricultural burning for the next 1 week, or the construction side, which belongs to the Ministry of Interior, has to stop. No one has that power in Thailand. So that's the upper bread of the ham. The guy has a master plan to do this and that, but he doesn't have the power that gives him to do it, right? And the lower bread is the action plan. Like I said, the causes, when I kept asking for the sources, so then we attacked at the sources of air pollution. Of course, he would say something like stop burning and no more cars, no private cars, stop schools, work from home and this and that. But if there's no action plan, then the civil servants at the very bottom, they don't know what to do. So that's why the problems recycles itself throughout. And that's all the environmental problems in Thailand. The last act that we had when it comes to environmental protection, I was 12 at the time. So it's been a long time that it was revised. So that's why when I went down to Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Skon and see all the mining practices and this and that, and I say, okay, this is what we lack. We lack the action plan, the lower bread. Clean Air Act, like many other countries, which is the upper bread. So that if that's the case, we have a coordinated effort. I mean, that kind of power structure that it will allow the problem to fade away. Otherwise, it will just be like this every year.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
As for Chiang Mai, hello. As for Chiang Mai, my apologies. We are not sending our candidates to compete in the Chiang Mai administration, local administration election. So we don't have city policy specifically for Chiang Mai at the moment. Apologies.
Thanks very much. I've never heard pollution described as a sandwich before. But
it's not just air pollution,
no.
Jonathan. It's a lot of problems here. It's a power structure. Yeah. Sorry, I confused power structure with sandwiches, but yeah.
I guess it was a
smoked
ham sandwich.
You see the picture.
Yeah. Next question, please.
Hi, my name is Ken Korana, and I have a question for Khun Thanathorn. You spoke about Rohingyas and human trafficking. As to what I feel, our security forces have kept our borders secure from illegal immigrants. I don't know what tactics they use, but whatever, our borders are safe. There are Rohingyas in India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Malaysia, and all over the place. How would you keep safe? How would you handle if you are in the government? How would you handle that?
What specifically are you addressing? And I realize it's Rohingyas. You mean human trafficking, or are you talking about Rohingyas specifically?
Actually, Rohingyas, more to Rohingyas. Yeah. How would you handle it?
Are you referring to how Thailand should handle it regionally, or Rohingyas in Thailand?
Yeah, Rohingyas in Thailand, those who come here and been sent out in the past.
Well, okay, I guess that's a broader question, I suppose, about undocumented, the very large undocumented population in Thailand. I mean, Rohingyas are obviously particularly vulnerable, but there are many, of course, from Myanmar, Cambodia, and others.
Well, for me, a democratic Thailand would be in the best position to help assist the issue of Rohingyas. I mean, look at the trade, look at the relationship we have with our neighbor. A democratic Thailand would have enormous power to leverage against this issue with our neighbor government. I mean, we are talking about, I don't know what, 1 million people being displaced at the moment, if not more, right? This is a huge issue, and it's just, we are turning blind eyes on them. We have all the resources in the world to help. The world want to help this, and we, Thailand, the neighbor, doing nothing, and actually making things worse by seizing this opportunity to do human trafficking activities. I mean, I am totally convinced that if we are in power, I mean, if he is in power, we can do better on this. We can do better on this front. We can use our trade with our neighbor to leverage on this. We can pull ASEAN behind us. The Malaysian already doing their part. The Indonesian government also doing their part. So we could, be a force for the better to talk to the Burmese government, in my eyes. And more importantly, I think it's not about the Rohingya alone. I mean, we could contribute more. Look at what happened in the Mekong River. Mekong River is dying. Mekong River is one of the most important river in Asia, and it's feeding 100 million people, more than 100 million people, depending on Mekong River, and now it is dying. And why is it dying? Because there's no international cooperation between the upstream, right from China, right, to the downstream in Cambodia and Vietnam. There's no international cooperation, and who want to talk to China? Who's in the upstream? Can any single country have enough power to negotiate with China that the dozen of mega dams you are building upstream is killing the river? No, you have to work. At least the inland Southeast Asian nations have to work together on this and to talk to China as one. And who is in the best position to do that? It's us, it's Thailand. And why we are not doing this is very simple. The answer is very simple, because Prayut Chan-o-cha needs international recognition. He needs China. So there's no way he's going to compromise his relationship with China for Mekong River, I believe. So that's why I'm saying we are losing opportunities. A democratic Thailand could contribute more to help solve the world's problems, be it the Rohingya, be it the Mekong River, or be it the environmental issues. We have the potential. We have smart people all over the place, all over Thailand. But we are not maximizing our potential. We are not maximizing the abilities of these people So it is a lost decade, a total lost decade for Thailand.
As for myself, I have some experiences in the fishing industry where there's a lot of migrant workers, a lot of them undocumented, and the key problem to that is the undocumented or the lack of transparency. And all I can say in a very quick summary is that I feel like there are some local or some established, some people in the industry who benefit from the lack of transparency for the migrant workers to keep being undocumented. And I feel that has to stop, and that has to stop with decentralization by having a decentralized cities who understand the demand and the supply and how to treat them like a normal human being. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Can we get the next question, please?
Hi, my name is Jiraporn Chayasan. I'm an FCCT member and also a concerned citizen. So Thanathorn, here we are again. After your last talk, it seemed like your party is dissolved. I understand that Chris Baker mentioned that you don't want to go. You mentioned that you don't want to go to jail. This is two questions about are you declaring war on the rich, and what are your message to the Thai tycoons that are supporting the pro-junta government? And also, Khun Pitha, if you actually have been invited to the coalition with our General Prayut's, sitting with as the Prime Minister, would you join them? And what would be your top three policies?
War on the rich. You're not entirely unwealthy yourselves, you two.
Let me put it this way. In this stage, as developing nation, we cannot reject the role of big corporations. We need big corporations. We need big companies. But the way they accumulate capital should not be regressive. They should be the one who go out and compete with the world, with technology, with innovation, in products and all services, and bring that value back and distribute it to the supply chain. So that should be the role of big business in developing nations, right? Capture the value from the outside, using the innovation, the power of the people in the country. That's how the Japanese build their big businesses, through the supply chain, having, for example, Toyota as the national champion, go out and capture value added in the world and bring back to Japan. That's how Korea built their nation. But us, big corporations in Thailand, they are not going out, but they instead lobbying for a regulation, lobbying for a law that could give them the power to monopolize the market. And that's the difference between the function of big corporations in developing nations. So, no, we are not declaring the war on the rich, but we want to change the relationship between the rich corporations and medium and small enterprises. Big corporations should not come down and compete with medium and small enterprises using the law that favors them, favor big corporations. But big corporations should be our flagships to compete with the world. So that is something I believe Pitha understands very well, and he will change it when he's our next Prime Minister.
To answer your question, I think we mentioned a couple of times with or without General Prayut is not really the issue. I think we all entered politics because we think that the system is rigged. How can 1% hold 67% of the wealth, according to Oxfam? How can there be 80,000 cases against our own citizens who just want the right to live, just because there are legal and inhumane evictions of land cases? So if we were to design our party policies or strategies, I can confirm with a strong voice, that it will still be a strong, shared, solidified policies that we have talked about in the past 1 year. It's already ingrained in our DNA. We don't need any other influence from other people who are dissolved with the party. It's the meaningful democracy. That means demilitarization, take military out to where they belong, not governing our country. It's about economic equality, ending monopoly, increasing transparency. It's about better environment, better sustainability. It's not about privatization of profit and nationalization of loss. And this is what I mean by how the system is rigged in this country. So if it's just a political party that says, okay, let's give subsidies to the farmers and not tackle the structural issues of Thai agriculture, that's something that we don't want to get into. So it's really not about an individual, but it's really about the system. Without General Prayut, but this system of elites, of conservatives, of other people, establishment continues. That's something that we'll still continue to fight for, against, not for.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hi. Hi. My name is Nirowit. I am not a journalist, if that's okay. My question is about Cobra MPs. It was a really big deal when the Future Forward Party started a year ago, because you guys were a group of normal people who never wanted to do politics, but got together because you were tired of the status quo. But now a year later, we see that quite a few of your MPs have been bought and have become
14.
Cobra MPs, including Monton Pokai, who's your district MP. My question is, what lessons have you learned, and what are some specific things you'll do to make sure this doesn't happen again in the future? Thank you.
Well, 14 to be precise. To be precise, it's 14. What's the lesson I learned? Betrayal is common in politics. I learned it's hard. I learned it's very expensive way, very painful way. So, betrayals. Let me clarify one thing. We got recognized by the Election Commission to be a political party, official political party, to be a legal entity on the 3rd of October. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months before the election. And we have to select, we have to choose our MP candidates before the new year. So we thought, because we thought the election might be, in the first quarter of 2019. So we have basically 3 months to choose 350 constituencies MP candidates. We got 3 months to choose some 350 people. So it was a big mistake. We didn't have enough time, to truly understand the motive behind their applications to be our MP candidate. So, but this is the lesson I have to tell him, because I wouldn't have an opportunity to do that again, So as for how do I feel about this? These 14 people, 10 of them are constituencies MPs, and 10 of them altogether collected 450,000 votes. 450,000 votes. And when we campaigned before the election, our campaign was very clear. We do not support military junta. So people who voted for us, these 450,000 votes, clearly they voted against the junta. And now the system, our system just allowed them to move camp. 450,000 people voted against the junta rule for these 10 MPs, constituency MPs. And when they move camp to support, to cushion the coalition, the governing coalition parties, they betrayal they betray these 450,000 voters. They betray their promises to the people, and that's painful, you know. So that's how I feel. And ขอโทษครับคุณพิธา apologies, but you have to learn this next time when you choose your MP candidates.
I mean, the MPs have the legal, the right to move to the party that they want to be associated with, but I don't think they have the legitimacy to do it. And I'm sure they have the price to pay. They already paid a lot.